you ever looked at someone else and wished you could be more like them? Maybe faster, braver, more talented, or simply different? This is the story of a little puppy named Kori, who tried so hard to become like everyone else that she almost forgot how wonderful it was to simply be herself. Deep inside the emerald forest lived a little puppy named Kori. Kori had warm golden brown fur, bright, curious eyes, floppy ears, and the tiny heart-shaped marking on her paw. She was gentle, she was thoughtful, and she had a heart full of kindness. But there was one thing Kori didn't know yet. What made her special? Every morning, the emerald forest seemed to wake up showing off its wonderful talents. High in the trees, the birds filled the air with beautiful songs. Kori stopped beneath a branch and listened. "Oh," she whispered, "I wish I could sing like that." She lifted her head and tried. "Awoo!" The birds stopped singing. Kori's ears dropped. That didn't sound anything like a bird. She quietly continued down the forest path. Across the meadow, rabbits raced through the grass faster than the wind. Kori's eyes widened. Maybe I'm supposed to be fast. She lowered herself, wiggled her little tail, and go! The rabbits disappeared across the meadow. Kori raced after them. Her ears flapped, her paws flew. She ran faster and faster until, plop! Kori tumbled straight into a patch of wildflowers. For a moment, nothing moved. Then her little head popped up between the flowers. A daisy was sitting on top of her head. Kori sighed. Maybe I'm not supposed to be fast either. Then she heard rustling above her. Squirrels! They leaped effortlessly from branch to branch. Kori stared upward. That must be it. She hurried to the nearest tree. If I can't sing and I can't race, maybe I can climb. Kori wrapped her paws around the trunk. She pulled herself upward. One paw, then another, then slide. Back down she went. She tried again. Slide. Again. Slide. By the third time, Kori was sitting at the bottom of the tree with leaves tangled in her flower bow. One squirrel climbed down and sat beside her. "You don't have to climb like us, Kori," it said gently. But Kori didn't understand. Not yet. Then something beautiful fluttered past her. A butterfly. Its wings shimmered with brilliant colors as it danced through the sunlight. Kori looked at the butterfly, then at her own golden brown fur. If I can't do something special, she thought, maybe I can look special. Kori gathered colorful petals from the ground. Pink, yellow, purple, blue. She tucked them into her fur and balanced two enormous leaves behind her like wings. Then she hurried to the pond. Kori looked at her reflection and waited. But instead of feeling special, she barely recognized the puppy looking back at her. A breeze swept across the pond. One petal fell. Then another. The leaves slipped from her back. Soon, Kori was simply Kori again. Her smile disappeared. I tried being like everyone else, she whispered, but nothing works. She lowered her head. Maybe there's nothing special about me at all. Then, sniff, sniff. Kori's ears lifted. She turned around. Hello? Another tiny sniff came from behind the tall grass. Kori followed the sound and discovered a very small field mouse hiding beneath a fern. He was trembling. Kori slowly sat down so she wouldn't frighten him. Are you okay? The little mouse peeked out. I can't find my family. Kori's expression softened. What's your name? Pip. Hello, Pip. I'm Kori. Pip wiped his eyes. I followed a butterfly, and when I turned around, everyone was gone. Kori looked toward the enormous forest, then back at tiny Pip. We'll find them. Pip blinked. You'll help me? Of course. Kori and Pip began walking through the forest. At first, Pip stayed several steps behind. Kori noticed. So she slowed down. Not because someone told her to. She simply didn't want Pip to feel alone. Soon, they reached a fork in the path. I don't know which way, Pip whispered. Kori didn't know either. She almost wished she could fly above the trees like the birds. But she couldn't. She almost wished she could race ahead like the rabbits. But she couldn't do that either. Then Kori's nose twitched. Sniff, sniff. She smelled wild berries. Then she noticed something else. Tiny footprints in the soft earth, bent blades of grass, a little trail between the leaves. Kori? Pip asked. Kori's tail began to wag. I think your family came this way. They followed the tiny trail deeper into the forest. Kori noticed things she'd never paid attention to before. Little paw prints, broken twigs, tiny pieces of berry beside the path. And whenever Pip became frightened, Kori waited. When his little legs grew tired, she rested beside him. And whenever he worried they were lost, Kori gently said, We'll keep looking together. Eventually, they reached a meadow filled with wildflowers. Suddenly, Pip! Pip froze. His eyes grew enormous. Mama? Pip! Several little field mice rushed through the flowers. Pip ran toward them. Mama! His mother wrapped him tightly in her paws. Oh, Pip, we've been looking everywhere. Pip suddenly pulled away and ran back to Kori. Kori found me! His mother looked at her. You brought our Pip home? Kori nodded shyly. I just helped him follow the trail. Pip shook his head. No. Everyone looked at him. You stayed with me when I was scared. Kori became very still. And you noticed things I couldn't see. Something warm stirred inside Kori's heart. She looked around. The birds were still singing. The rabbits were still racing. The squirrels were still climbing. And butterflies still danced among the flowers. Nothing about them had changed. But, for the first time, Kori didn't wish she were any of them. Later that afternoon, Kori returned to the pond. She looked at her reflection. The same floppy ears, the same golden brown fur, the same little paws. Nothing about her looked different. And yet, something felt different. She remembered Pip. She hadn't sung him home. She hadn't raced him home. She hadn't climbed a tree to save him. And she certainly hadn't needed butterfly wings. She had simply been Kori. Kori's ears slowly lifted. Wait. Her tail gave one tiny wag, then another. All day I've been asking what I can do like everyone else. She thought for a moment. But Pip didn't need me to be like everyone else. The pond shimmered beneath the golden afternoon light. He needed me to be me. As Kori walked home, she passed the birds. Their song was beautiful, but Kori didn't try to copy them. She simply listened. The rabbits raced past. Kori didn't try to prove she could keep up. She laughed and waved. The squirrels leaped between the branches. Kori didn't try to climb. She smiled up at them. Then a butterfly floated past. Its wings shimmered pink, blue, and gold. Kori watched it dance through the sunlight. You look beautiful just being you, she whispered. Kori stopped. She looked at the butterfly, then at the rabbits, then at the squirrels, then at the birds. The bird didn't need to become a rabbit. The rabbit didn't need to become a squirrel. The squirrel didn't need butterfly wings. And the butterfly didn't need to sing. They weren't special because they could do everything. They were special because each one brought something different to the forest. Kori looked down at herself. So why did I think I had to become one of them? Kori! A familiar tiny voice called from across the meadow. Pip came running toward her, carrying a little wildflower between his paws. This is for you. For me? Pip nodded. Because you helped me find my way home. He carefully tucked the flower beside Kori's bow. Pip's mother smiled. You have a very special gift, Kori. Kori looked at her. You notice when someone needs you, she said. And when you do, you give them your whole heart. Kori looked at Pip, then at the tiny flower beside her bow, and finally at the heart-shaped marking on her paw. She understood. Her special gift wasn't something she could perform. It wasn't something she could win. And it wasn't something she could wear. It had been with her all along. Her kindness, her patience, her caring heart. Those things were Kori. And suddenly, being Kori felt wonderful. The next morning, nothing in the emerald forest had changed. The birds still sang, the rabbits still raced, the squirrels still climbed, and butterflies still painted the air with beautiful colors. But Kori had changed. When the rabbits invited her to run, Kori ran with them. She wasn't the fastest, and for the first time, that didn't matter. She laughed as her floppy ears bounced in the wind. When the squirrels invited her to climb, Kori looked at the enormous tree. She remembered sliding down the trunk again and again and again. Kori giggled. I think I'll leave the climbing to you. And when a butterfly landed gently on her nose, Kori's nose twitched. Oh no! Achoo! The butterfly fluttered away just in time. For one quiet second, everyone stared. Then Kori began to laugh. The rabbits laughed, the squirrels laughed, even the birds seemed to chirp with amusement. Yesterday, Kori might have felt embarrassed. Today, she was simply Kori. Later, she returned to her favorite pond, not because she was sad, not because she was searching for an answer. She simply liked it there. Kori looked into the water. Golden brown fur, floppy ears, bright, curious eyes, her flower bow, and the little heart-shaped marking on her paw. She smiled. She had spent so much time asking, "Why can't I be like them?" that she'd forgotten to ask something much more important. What's wonderful about being me? Now she knew. Kori was kind. Kori noticed when someone was hurting. Kori stayed when someone was frightened. Kori listened. Kori cared. And yes, sometimes Kori howled terribly. Sometimes she fell into flowers. Sometimes she slid straight down trees. And sometimes she sneezed butterflies off her nose. But all of those things belonged to her too. The wonderful parts, the silly parts, the quiet parts, the parts she was still discovering. Together, they made Kori. As evening settled over the emerald forest, Kori walked home. Above her, the birds sang their own songs. Across the meadow, rabbits ran at their own speed. In the trees, squirrels climbed in their own way. And among the flowers, butterflies carried their own colors. The forest was beautiful, not because everyone was the same, but because everyone brought something different to it. Kori finally understood. She didn't need the bird's song. She didn't need the rabbit's speed. She didn't need the squirrel's climbing. She didn't need the butterfly's wings. The emerald forest already had all of those things. What it didn't have was another Kori. There was only one, and that was more than enough. Kori looked toward the glowing evening sky. Her little tail wagged. "I don't want to be anyone else," she whispered. "I just want to be me." And with her little heart glowing brighter than ever, Kori continued home. Not as the fastest, not as the best singer, not as the greatest climber, but as something nobody else in the entire Emerald Forest could ever be. Kori. If Kori's story warmed your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for another magical adventure here on Joy Glow Stories. Until our next story, keep your heart glowing.